Hi, it's Tina, tourism trainer, facilitator, clarity coach, and founder of the Tourism Space. Welcome back to the Tourism and Megatrends Series. This is part 9, and today we're looking at the idea of health and wellness. Healthy lifestyle habits have definitely become part of the way we live our lives today. And this is a kind of a shift away from pure health in medical terms, where we're managing and reacting to conditions, towards a much more holistic idea of health and wellness that incorporates spiritual and mental well-being as well as physical wellness. And it's part of an evolving general shift of behaviours and attitudes towards our lifestyle that in this case really can be defined as a megatrend under the term health, wellness and well-being. And we tend to find that these terms are used interchangeably, and in tourism are definitely becoming much more part of the standard vernacular around tourism. So let's explore them just a little bit. So the first idea is well-being, very much a concept that we hear more and more in our everyday lives. So what's meant by well-being? It's kind of difficult to define it, but the experts would tell us that those who enjoy well-being, for example, generally have very supportive friends and family. They have rewarding and engaging work. They have definite goals that they're working towards. They're in general good health, and they usually have a spiritual philosophy or religion of some sort that guides their lives as well. That's the idea of well-being in general. A little vague, and as I say, hard to pin down. The other idea we're very much looking at in our lives today is happiness. And how do you define what makes people happy? And again, there's no really strong, tight definition on that, given as it is an emotion for people. But again, we find the theme of friends and family, so a supportive friends and family network. Happy people have that. They are able to lose themselves in their daily activity. They're not obsessed by image or by fame or by what other people think. They're quite steady in their own skin, know what they want and happy with that. They're satisfied with what they have. And they also tend to have the ability to give to others. So that give back idea tends to be part of what happiness is about. The problem is that the way society is going in general around us is working against us achieving those states. And we've touched on quite a few of these in the series so far. So other megatrends are urbanization, digitalization, individualization, premiumization, pressure, time poverty, general stress, general insecurity. And we find that all these things happening around us are actually amplifying this megatrend for health and wellness and aiming for that type of thing. So all those things in the external environment are bringing up new desires for our leisure time and for particularly our holiday time. So things like the less is more philosophy is certainly a part of that. Natural, simple, stress-free, stillness, and those kind of alternative antidotes to our modern society, which is leaving us feel a little bit embattled, to be honest. So now we have this idea of wellness tourism emerging. And wellness is defined as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. And wouldn't that be lovely? A complete state of well-being and happiness, which is what we've looked at before. And that's very much driving this whole sector called wellness tourism. Now, it's interesting to explore that sector. It's, like I said, very much arising out of this need we're experiencing more and more to have well-being and happiness in our lives. And we're seeing that right across our lives, in our after-work time, in our in-work time, in the design of our buildings, in our activities, in the way we engage with other people. 60% of millennials say that their health and wellness is their single most important thing in life, for example. And what wellness tourism means is people who travel with the intention of improving or maintaining their well-being. And that's a complete shift to where tourism was maybe 30 or 40 or 50 years ago, when people went on holiday in order to splurge and to let it all go loose and to eat and stay up late and to drink, and just that was defined as relaxation. But that was in a different society and a different time. Now it's very much to get sleep, to rejuvenate, to maintain your well-being, to maintain the routine you might have around your health when you're away. So wellness tourism is all travels where tourists seek to improve or maintain their well-being during their stay. And let's explore this industry a little bit. It's worth $639 billion according to the Global Wellness Monitor study. Overall, the wellness industry across all its sectors is over $4.3 trillion. It's 3 or 4 times the size of the pharmaceutical industry, for example. So that's really important. It's growing, predicted to grow by 17% until 2022. In the last 2 to 3 years, it has grown by 6.5%, which is more than double the average rate of tourism worldwide at the moment. So it's definitely in growth. There were 830 million trips in 2017 based on wellness, and that's something like 130 million more than 2 years before that. So the growth is quite phenomenal. Europe is still the main wellness destination, and European travellers are the main wellness travellers, but the biggest growth markets are in the developing markets. So Asia is certainly the biggest growth market, and top of the list is China and India, and a seeking out of those Asian wellness concepts that have gone back over centuries, now very much becoming dominant in wellness tourism. So we can differentiate as well between primary wellness travellers and secondary wellness travellers. So the primary wellness travellers are the ones that are motivated, that select their destination and their trip based on wellness principles. They're only about 10% of the overall wellness market. The remaining 80 to 90% probably are what we call secondary wellness travellers, who it's not their primary decision maker, but they are seeking out wellness activities during their travel and during their holiday time. And like I mentioned earlier, it's very much in a holistic type of environment. So not specific wellness measures, but a general feeling of wellness, optimum well-being and overall quality of experience. We do know that these travellers are premium in terms of the yield for tourism. That 10% of primary travellers are estimated to spend between 130 and 170% more than the average international traveller, but even the secondary traveller, it's on average about 50% more than the average international traveller. So it's a high yield sector, there's no doubt about that. One of the big things that this sector is after is luxury, and we've mentioned that in previous series, is that travel is now regarded as one of the ultimate luxuries. And the luxuries of the future for this wellness segment are very much the invisible luxuries. So this is important to bear in mind as a tourism operator. It's not essentially about putting lots of health and wellness products in front of your visitors. It's about the rest that goes around that. So we're seeing things like the ability to be in nature, the ability to connect with people and friends and families, the ultimate luxury, time, stillness, sense, coaching, for example, building your resilience, identifying your potential, building your inner reserves for when you're back from your holiday, and that sense of earthing and being mindful and connecting with nature and people. So as a tourism operator, how do you incorporate that? For some places, for the destination spa, for example, and the retreat, it is absolutely all about the product and the ambience and the building. But for the general type visitor in a general tourism setting, it's about integrating these health and wellness ideas into the overall proposition. So for some people in a hotel, that might mean vitamin-infused water coming through your shower, or it might mean a yoga mat in your room, or it might mean just generally excellent recreational facilities. For others, it might be as simple as the choice of food and drinks that are in the minibar. It might be as simple as the choice of toiletries and the selection and sourcing of those. It's about this overall idea of improving quality of life, not just for the visitor themselves, but for society in general. So having a look at your sourcing, your food provision, your general ambience, your design, the words you use, and speaking to these emotional needs, looking for, back to what we started with, well-being and happiness, is going to be really important in terms of how you communicate to your visitor, how you communicate your benefits, how you show what your product or service can offer. Undoubtedly, health and wellness is a mega trend that's here to stay. Like I said, as all the other trends that make our lives a little less well, a little less healthy, a little less happy, we're seeing this overall search for health, wellness, well-being and happiness. Travel is seen as a primary sector in that, and so for all of us as tourism operators, it's important to bear that in mind. That's it for today. I look forward to seeing you again next week, and in the meantime, here's to your lasting success.